everyone, and welcome back to Pyyro TV. I have the pleasure of being here with Gabe Higgins. He is the COO and co-founder of Blockspaces, which is a blockchain-focused innovation studio. I'm going to let him explain a lot more about that. Can you tell us what Blockspaces is?
Yeah, so like you just mentioned, thank you, Jason, by the way. We're a blockchain innovation studio here in Tampa, Florida. We work on all the blockchain things. We help educate people. We help developers develop things. We help corporations find their enterprise solutions, where they're trying to integrate blockchain technology in their either forward-facing or back-office inner workings.
For sure. And so how did Blockspaces get started?
So yes, it got started because I said we needed to start it.
So you just saw kind of like a need or like a
yeah,
kind of a
well,
hole,
so I've been running the blockchain Bitcoin meetups in the Tampa Bay area since 2013, and it got to the point in 2017 when the market was exploding that we just had way too many people showing up to our meetup, and we had no place to hold it. So I figured we needed our own space, our own dedicated space, because it's a pain to try to book a restaurant or some kind of space like that for who knows how many people would show up. You know, over 100 people were showing up at that point.
Wow.
And up until then, we were just holding it in like this restaurant that had a nice patio that we could kind of commandeer for that evening. But we had so much interest in doing so many other things. People wanted to get involved more, so I said, okay, we just need our own space then we can do tons of events all the time and just focus on this, on all these different aspects of the blockchain industry, because it's so much. There's so much
broad.
here.
There's so much happening. Yeah.
So much, and there's so much that people, people tend to focus on one or the other kind of aspect depending on whatever their interest is. So we tried to hit on all the interests at the same time, and I'd like to say that we're like the front-facing interface of how you get involved in the blockchain industry. So we're like your choose your own adventure pathway to the blockchain industry.
That's really cool to see. And so, especially being here in Tampa Bay, do you feel like a responsibility of almost like being the hub? You know what I mean? Like there's no other thing really like this anywhere even remotely close. Do you feel like a responsibility?
Totally. But we've always felt that. Even when we were just a small meetup group, we felt a responsibility to help educate as many people as we could about the technology, what it's capable of, and how you could interface with it. We take that very seriously from the beginning, and that's a part of our stance is having an agnostic approach to which blockchain or cryptocurrency is going to be good or bad or whatever. We definitely do not promote any scams. We've had our fair share of scammers trying to come through and poach our members in our community for their next pump or whatever. So we're very vigilant in that aspect, but we do want to educate as well. So there's a fine balance there between calling people out on clear scams and then having an agnostic approach where we're interested in some of the developments that are happening in the space. Of course, not all of them are sound. We recognize that, but as long as we're not pushing any particular thing, we're just educating. This is what it's about. This
more
is
about
what
general
does.
education,
Exactly.
kind of helping the community just learn more about it. You're not once again, you're not pushing anything specific or this specific project or whatever it is. You're just kind of getting that education out there.
And we let our members then decide from there what they want to do.
For sure, and I think that's massive, especially where I see the space right now. And so I'd be kind of interested, because you talk to both businesses and individuals all the time, whether it's about blockchain or cryptocurrency. Yep. Where do you kind of see the education or understanding level? If you had to give it like a 1 to 10 rating, where's the current education level? Like where are people seeing it?
Yeah, I used to think that we were pretty far along, but the more we talk to corporates and even government. We've been engaging on the government facing front as well, and they're just not at all. They haven't even. They don't know anything. So they're
zero.
at like zero. Some corporations are like at 1 to 3. Some are much further along. But it's just such a broad range. It's everywhere. It's all
Sure.
over the map.
But say the majority, it's gonna be lower than 5, probably.
Probably, yeah. We're still very, very early in this entire endeavor. So, of course, I would expect that. It didn't feel that way a couple years ago when everything was pumping. But the reality has set in for sure, and I'm pretty certain we're still at pretty much the ground floor.
Interesting. Very cool to see. So Gabe, I know there's so many projects and there's so much going on that this space can kind of feel a little white noise sometimes. It's kind of hard to see which direction to go or even like what to start looking into.
Yep.
And so what do you think maybe the biggest misconceptions are? Maybe you can answer it in 2 ways, about both blockchain and cryptocurrency. Just be kind of interested to hear your take.
Yeah, and you know, there's a lot to that. That's an entire discussion. So on the blockchain front, when I speak of blockchain in general, distributed ledger technologies, to me it's mostly about how that interfaces with corporations at this point. In a lot of the applications, you know, it depends on how you define blockchain, right? There's a lot of course.
So you have to define it now.
Yeah. Well, to me, the definition has expanded way beyond what we originally thought.
Yeah.
You know, whether or not that's sound or not, that's a debate that everybody can have. Whether or not, however you fall on that front, the corporations are definitely looking to integrate some aspects of the technology in some way, shape, or form. So you can't just ignore that.
Sure.
That's a real thing, and we're talking to a bunch of them that are interested in doing that. So on some aspects, when I'm talking about enterprise blockchains, you know, these are the more privatized, you know, very insular kind of consortium-based blockchains, which have their own purpose. They serve a function. It's not the completely distributed, decentralized, open innovation applications that I think of when I talk about you know, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. But those are just another aspect now of what blockchain means at this point. So I've seen a broad range of how this is discussed, this topic. So I try to remain as agnostic as I can, but help educate. So that's one of the lines that we need to distinguish in the discussion, so everybody's clear that we're not talking about
this specific blockchain or
this specific use case. In my opinion, like Bitcoin is the furthest along of any of these developments in blockchain technology.
Sure.
Of course, it technically is because it's been around the longest.
Of course.
But also the developments that are happening within the ecosystem itself and how it's pushing the envelope of the technology itself. That's what's exciting to me, and that's where I'm seeing the most innovative things happening.
Sure.
So, not to say that there's not other projects that are doing the same thing in the cryptocurrency space, because I think there are.
Yeah.
And that's also interesting to me. So I tend to try to follow as much as I can in the limited time that I have to follow all these things. But this is my passion. This is why I created Blockspaces. This is why I want to create a space that other people can come and learn all these different things and actually help me learn
and
about
contribute.
What else is there. Yeah, exactly. This is definitely like a community effort kind of thing, because I can't possibly keep track of every single thing that's happening. There's so much happening in this space that it's evolving so rapidly. I cannot do it on my own. So we actually rely on the community to kind of bring in that input. And so we're like hive mind of information that way.
For sure, and I'm obviously a member here, so I can be a little bit biased from this perspective, but what I think is really cool is that it almost seems like this like mastermind consortium type of thing. So you have all these people that are working, so whether it's on the development side of things, or they work specifically with blockchains, or they work with trading, or they just know the crypto industry kind of in and out. So it's really cool. And that was kind of a resource for me, when I was first starting out, was like I couldn't believe this existed almost, like because I just didn't know. And so to pop in and just see this whole kind of vibrant community that's in all these different facets, I'm like, I want to learn about this and about this. So it's really neat, like what you created here, because you're right, it's not even just an education thing, it's a community.
Yep.
That's what I think is so cool about what Blockspaces does, is you've just built this incredible community that you can just learn from.
Yep.
And you can have fun too. It's not like a classroom. You come in here and there's like classes every single day. Like it's fun. You know what I mean? It's different.
Yeah, we try to do a lot of events that are very engaging and community based, and the people that have been a part of this now for the last couple of years, we're like a very tight knit community.
Yeah.
We're friends. So it's been just really great to see how this has developed, and how we can bring in more people. We're looping in other people, and I mean, we've had people come and completely change their career goals because
That's awesome.
They come into a meetup and they learn about Bitcoin, and then they learn about all the millions of other things that has to do with this industry, and something just really grabs them.
Yeah.
Right?
You see that light go off almost.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
You start falling down that rabbit hole. That's Everybody says that, and it's so true. And the thing is that I haven't found a way out of that rabbit hole.
Nope.
And it
just gets deeper.
It just gets deeper. And you keep falling. But so that's why we needed to create a space that allowed you to grow in that area, or
and to ask questions and kind of
Totally.
for sure. I think that makes perfect sense. And so, speaking specifically about cryptocurrency, like we always talk about adoption and scalability. So what do you see as the biggest hurdle for cryptocurrency specifically? Let's say moving into the next 2 to 5 years. What's the biggest hurdle?
Yeah, it's always education on the consumer facing front and on the developer front. On the developer side, there are tools that are coming available that are making it much more easy to interface with all of the different kinds of blockchains there are now. Of course, one of those I got to pump.
Of course,
is one of our own, Pocket Network, with Michael O'Rourke as CEO. Is a longtime member here, and our first they are our first startup, our baby, our guinea pig, if you will. And they're doing fantastic. They just launched their MVP, and they act like a middleware layer where developers can plug into the Pocket Network and then develop with very easy developer tools. They're like an SDK API to connect to any blockchain. And so it makes it very easy to run a mobile app now that can be completely done on a blockchain. All the application interfacing is there's no server. It's serverless. Serverless applications that are unstoppable. So this is where we are right now, and that's very exciting to me.
Very cool. So you just really see it as it just need more and more education.
Totally.
So that's why I think places like this are so important, is because it does give you that education. It's once again it's not directed at any specific project or anything like that. So it really gives you kind of that open view to be able to kind of develop your own opinions and thoughts and directions you want to go. And like I said, you see that light go off in people's head of getting excited about. So whether it's Bitcoin or just blockchain or DLT, whatever it is, you see them get excited about it. And I think that's when you're onto something. I think that's why we all get so excited about cryptocurrency and blockchains, because that light's gone off in our own heads, and you see that light go off in other people's heads. It's just very exciting to be a part of something that you just feel that movement. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I couldn't be more excited about that. And of course, price tends to dictate a lot of that.
A little bit of the excitement, sure.
A little bit of that excitement.
We're feeling good today.
We're feeling really good today, which is fine. We've dealt with that. It's part of that, and we expect that. But we try to stress that the importance, the broader importance here.
Sure.
It's not just about trying to make a quick buck. It's about how this is going to affect our world in the next 10 to 20 years.
For sure.
Because it's going to make a big impact, and you're going to need to know about it eventually. Do you want to be on the front end of that wave, or on
you want to play catch up and kind of try to figure it out after the fact? Right. No, I definitely agree with that. I think that makes perfect sense. So we're gonna do kind of a fun like ending to this part. So I want to do kind of rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Just think of the quickest answer you can to the question. Some of them are kind of yes or no, and just hit it as fast as you can.
Okay.
All right. So Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash?
Bitcoin.
Ethereum or Neo?
Ooh, Ethereum.
Tron or EOS?
EOS.
Best guess as to who Satoshi is?
Definitely not Craig Wright.
Not Craig Wright. Top cryptocurrency in 2019.
Ooh.
We could do it by market cap. Let's say by market cap.
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin price in 2020.
At the beginning or end?
Highest, let's say.
Highest price next year. I think we'll hit 20K again.
That's awesome. Yes or no, gold-backed cryptocurrency?
We've been doing that for years. Not really exciting.
Okay, got it. Trading or mining?
Oh, trading. Mining's way too hard.
Worst coin of 2019?
Worst coin of 2019.
I think I know what you want to say.
What?
Bitcoin SV.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for playing the quick rapid fire questions. I really appreciate you being on Pyyro TV. Where can people find Blockspaces?
Well, we're located in Tampa, but you can hit us up online at blockspaces.io. Blockspaces, yes, with the S, .io.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Really
Thank you,
appreciate it
sir.
again, Gabe. Thanks so
Awesome.
much.